Hi, boys and girls. Hope you are ready for some fun activities. Our first activity is going to be about optical illusions. And you see that Penny has decided to stick with us for a little while. We'll see how long she stays. But I figured as long as she wants to hang out, she is welcome to join us for our activities. So what you're going to need for the optical illusions one is this. It looks, you got a bunny here and a couple of other sheets. So when we're talking about the story Walk to Emmaus, then, oh, Penny's gonna lay down for a few. She's still right here. She's gonna stay close, but anyway, back to the story. When we're talking about, I said the walk to Emmaus, I've been doing that all week. The road to Emmaus, they were walking to Emmaus too, but the story is called The Road to Emmaus. The two men were not prepared to have Jesus walking alongside them. They had seen Jesus die, and so the thought that he could just come up and start walking with them was out of the realm of possibilities for them. They were on their road. They knew what to think about what death was, and that the resurrection was not something within their wheelhouse. So it wasn't until they changed their perceptions and really looked at the man that they were with when they were sitting down to dinner that they realized it was Jesus, and that Jesus was alive. And at that point, they were so excited. So sometimes when we are stuck in a rut, when we just don't see any possibilities to change the situation that we're in, when we might not be happy or think something's too hard, we just need to change our perceptions a little bit, look at things a little differently, and find a different way that we can maybe get out of our rut, find some way to make things happier in our lives, or find a different solution to a difficult problem. So just kind of to make an example of a visual example of looking at things a different way from a different perspective, I have some optical illusions. Now, an optical illusion is something that is, oh, I gotta look at my definition. Where is it? An optical illusion. Oh, here it is a misleading image. So when you look at it one way, you see one thing, but then if you look at it a different way, you may see something else, which is this is the perfect example. If you're looking at this picture, so go find yours so you can get a good look at it. And what do you see when you hold it this way? Well, I see a bunny. There's a little bunny nose, there's a bunny ear, and of course the little bunny eye. But if you turn the page this way, now what do you see? I see a duck. Do you see the duck? The ear actually becomes the duck bill, and the same eyeball, and then the same body, but the other direction. So that is pretty cool. This way it looks like a bunny. This way it looks like a duck. So you can see how images can be made that, depending on how you're looking at it, makes a difference on what you see. So it changes your perception. So the next one we're gonna do is we're gonna take out these circles. We're actually gonna make tops out of these. Let me grab my scissors. So the only thing you're gonna need from home today are scissors, and then you're gonna need your little supply kit that says Walk to Emmaus Week 6. Because in that, you're gonna need this little thing, which is actually a thumbtack. I just put it on this foam so nobody's reaching in the bag and pricking themselves. And toothpicks. There are toothpicks in here. Okay, the first thing you need to do, I know I'm a little off center here, so you're getting a real good view of my green couch, but that's because Penny is right here in case she decides to pop her head up. We want to be able to see her. But in the meantime, let's cut the circles out. You could start with just one, or you can do all of them. I gave one set per family. So, and we have no family that has more than 4 kids. So if you are a family of 4, you each can have one top. And if you have fewer kids in your family, then you can cut them all out, and definitely share with your siblings to see what these cool tops do. So we're gonna just do one here, and then you can check out the other ones when at home and see what they look like. But again, with the optical illusions, you see that this, there's varying sections of black and white, and the white has some little lines in them. So we are going to take the only thing you need the push pin for is to push right in the center. There's a little dot, and we're gonna push that right through. Basically the push pin's just making a hole. Okay, and then you're gonna take your toothpick and you're gonna break it in half. Now I actually gave you 4 toothpicks, so you can have a toothpick for each different top. But in actuality, you just really need 2 because you're breaking them in half. Okay, and then you're just simply going to take the toothpick and push it right through. You need a little bit on top because you're going to spin it. So, I don't know, about halfway through, that will work. And then we are going to spin it and see what happens. So let me move my camera down. See if I can give this a good spin. Ready? So see what it looks like here, and then when you spin it, oops, if I can spin it, I need to get a good grip. Oh, look, it looks like, if you can see that, where we have all these like pie shapes, when you spin it, it looks like just a bunch of black and white lines going through it. So again, the spinning of it gives us an optical, oh, sorry, that's a little awkward. Moving it back. But the spinning of it gives us an optical illusion of the lines. Actually, I don't need to spin it that way. I could spin it this way, and you can see how the lines form and how the appearance changes. So depending on how we look at something, when we look at it when it's still, we have the pie pieces, and when we look at it in motion, we have more of the lines going through. And you can see from each of these different ones when you do them that they each will give a different appearance when they spin. So anyway, what I really like about the top is that for this one, unlike the bunny and the duck you just have to look at it. This one you have to put it in motion. And I like that because it's really a good example of when you put something into action, it can change it. So I think when we think about God's love, that when we put God's love into action, we can change our circumstances, we can change the circumstances of other people, we can change the minds and hearts of other people, and we can change the world by just putting God's love into action. Like we put this top into action, we can put God's love into action and change the world. Now grant you, when we put God's love into action, we are just planting seeds a lot of time. Sometimes you will do something that spreads God's love, and amazing things will happen. And you'll be able to see it and know that through God has used you to spread his love and to make big changes happen, or small changes. But sometimes we don't see the outcome of our actions. And sometimes we're just planting little seeds in somebody's heart by doing something nice, and then they go on their way and we don't see what the outcomes are. And it might be when they get home, they remember somebody opening the door for them, or picking up something that fell, or just giving a smile and saying hello. And maybe it's gonna be way down the line, maybe a year, 2 years, 10 years, when they think back and remember something that you said, or that an action that you had, and or a compliment that you gave. And at that point, the seed has had a chance to grow within them, and then great things can happen. So we don't always see the outcomes of the seeds that we plant, but just know that we are planting seeds whenever we are spreading God's love and putting His love into action. So that leads us to the very last optical illusion. So make sure you next pull out this, and you might be able to kind of figure out what this optical illusion is if you kind of look at it. Or it might just look like a big black blob with some white in the middle. To me, it almost looks like a road going down here. And here it looks like a little heart, and there's a road. The road made a lot of sense to me since we're talking about the road to Emmaus. So what you're going to do with this one takes a little more effort. Unlike the bunny that we could just flip, this one you need to stare at. So I want you to stare at it for a good 30 seconds. Now, if you need to blink a little bit while you're staring at it, perfectly fine. But just set a timer or count to 30, whatever you want to do. And then when you're done staring at it, and you don't have to watch me stare for 30 seconds. I've already done this. But when you're done staring at it, then look at a blank wall, and then stare at the blank wall. And maybe blink a few times and see what image comes before your eyes. And I don't want to give any spoiler alerts, or no, I do want to give a spoiler alert. If you don't want to hear yet, then pause this video, do this, and then unpause me after you've done it. Okay, I'll give you a second to turn off the video. Okay, so the really cool thing, when you look at this image for 30 seconds and then you look at a blank wall and you blink a couple times, you see Jesus. It is so cool. So very cool. So make sure after you do this that you give it to your mom, your dad, and your brother and sister, grandparents, whoever, and have them give it a try. Because just to think, by staring at something you can kind of, if you look hard, kind of see where Jesus comes in, but you really see Jesus after you stare at it and you look at a blank wall. And to me, it helped when I blinked. So what I love about this one is it really goes to show, it reminds me of the Road to Emmaus story, because they didn't know Jesus was walking by them. And you might not know that this was Jesus until you did the little exercise. And Jesus is all around us. Jesus is in the nature that we see, our pets, our loved ones, the good things that people do. Jesus surrounds us, but we don't always see Jesus. We're not always looking for Jesus in the things in our environment and around us and in our communities. But if we take a little time and effort, then we can see Jesus all over the place. Jesus and God abound in our world, whether it's here in springtime when we're just now starting to see the buds on the trees. I'm noticing little leaves coming on my bushes, and I've already seen daffodils and tulips come up, and the grass is turning green. That so much is a sign of God and Jesus. And when, like I said, when we're nice to somebody, we're spreading Jesus' love, but it goes both ways. Jesus is in other people who are also spreading his love. So in a kind act that is done for you, you can also see Jesus in those acts as well. So when you think about this optical illusion, just remember that sometimes we have to look at things a little differently, change our perception on things, and definitely look for Jesus in everything that you do. Or at least you don't have to actively be looking for Jesus, but every once in a while, stop and think, how is Jesus in this activity? How is Jesus in this weather pattern? Whatever the case may be. And just keep that in the back of your head. And then Also, say a little prayer when you find signs of Jesus, and just a little thank you prayer. Thank you, Lord, for being with me. Thank you, Lord, for the beautiful flowers. Thank you, Lord, for my lovely companion, Penny. Whatever the case may be, just take a couple of seconds and say a quick little thank you prayer to Jesus, and to show your appreciation for all the good things that he brings to our lives. Okay, and with that, I hope you enjoy these optical illusions. I hope you enjoy the tops and seeing all the cool designs that those get when you put those into action. And please come back for our the rest of our activities. And next week we will be starting a whole new series. So I hope to see you then. Until then, bye.